What's up, homie?
What's up, man?
Cheers, by the way. First, good morning, I guess.
Boeh decided that we should do this with scotch. I had to remind him it's 9:15 a.m. But clearly it wasn't hard to convince me because we're both sitting here with a scotch. But what are you drinking?
Right now I am drinking the Maker's Mark, the Jerry Jones edition pick, or whatever.
It's the one with the
With
blue?
no, it's the one with the silver wax.
The silver wax.
Silver
Okay.
wax. You can't get it unless you're gifted it from the Jerry Jones family, or you buy it at the Cowboys Club to drink there.
That's awesome.
They never make it out.
I'm not a bourbon or whiskey guy. Well, I guess I'm a whiskey guy, but I'm a single malt scotch guy. Bo's been trying to convince me that you can enjoy both, but Boeh also enjoys a nice scotch. So kind of interesting how Boeh and I met.
Right? By the way, I'm Boeh.
This is Boeh. So
Hi, guys.
Boeh came in a few times. I was a customer of the store. I think he was mostly smoking Tatuaje at the time.
It was Tatuaje.
But he came in on a day when I was working, and I had about 40 boxes stacked up, and they were all labeled Davidoff.
I was like, oh my gosh.
No one knew that I had got the Davidoff account at that time. I hadn't announced it. So I was waiting to announce it, and Boeh was my first Davidoff customer. He made me open up the box, dig out. What was the first box you bought?
It was a box of Davidoff Escurios, which are the Brazilian wrappers, if I'm not mistaken. It's the one with the green.
Yeah. So I dug it out of
those
30 boxes. It was probably in box number 28.
Yeah.
But he was officially my first Davidoff sell. But he had known Scott and some of the other guys. He'd been coming in the afternoons, apparently shopping a little bit with us and buying Davidoff elsewhere. But once we got Davidoff, Boeh became kind of a full-time customer. And Boeh and I found out pretty quickly we had a lot of stuff in common.
A lot in common.
And it was almost a little bit scary at first. I knew it was going to be trouble when we started hanging out. But I think the first thing we figured out is we both like scotch. So we spent like 6 months just bringing in different scotches and at noon pouring a scotch.
It was a little earlier than noon, I think, actually.
And we ran through that, and then we realized we're both into watches, so we started talking watches. We're both into shoes. We started talking shoes.
Oh gosh, that's another vice that.
I think I've spent more money on Scott since I've known Boeh, and Bo's probably spent a lot more money on shoes since he's met me.
Yeah.
But really, cigars is kind of what brought us together. We're both big fans of Davidoff, but we have a lot of other things in common. And then one thing that was pretty cool is Boeh was sitting in the shop, was already in the gun business, but the opportunity for what you're doing now kind of came about in the lounge, and you essentially wrote that business plan in the lounge.
That was my office for a while, and I collaborated with a lot of different people in the lounge on the business model.
It was really pretty neat. When he needed a real estate guy, we had a real estate guy. When he was trying to figure out how many square feet he would need for this or that, there was always somebody. There was an architect to answer that. There was a plumber to answer plumbing questions.
Yeah.
There was an attorney to answer legal questions, and ultimately end up assembling his own team. But a lot of those, just kind of brainstorming ideas and putting together the business plan really, kind of emanated from time in the lounge. So I thought that was fun watching the whole thing come together. But tell us a little bit about what you do now, how you got into the gun industry.
So I got in the gun industry maybe about 10 years ago. I really wasn't working, didn't really have to work, but a friend of mine who is now deceased, he brought me on to be, I guess, the director of sales for one of the programs that he had, to develop a sales program, and from there it just flourished into silencers, short-barreled rifles, machine guns.
That's kind of your specialty,
Yes,
right?
that is my specialty, is dealing with silencers and machine guns. And then from there, one of my customers offered me the chance of a lifetime to partner up with him and develop a DFW location of what he was doing in Midland, with my specialty being forefront. So yeah, that was a great opportunity, and I'm glad that I was able to share the growth of the company up here with all the guys.
Yeah, the process is always the most fun part, and watching it all come together was really cool. I know your business kind of specializes in hard to find stuff,
Yes.
stuff that requires tax stamps, real specialty items, high-end items. You do a little bit of everything, right?
We do a little bit of everything. Yes, we do a little bit of everything, from your everyday Glocks and Cigs to HKs. But my true passion is silencers. One of the first things we've collaborated on together was one of the silencer manufacturers, Dead Air Silencers. We actually did a new model release party at the old location of Renegade, and that was a blast, man.
I think I got in trouble for that one. I think we had like 400 people there for that event. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. People flew in from all over the country to come in.
It was really a cool event. And I found a lot of people ask me correlation between cigars and golf, cigars and cars, cigars and
whiskey,
whatever, and whiskey. And there's obviously some.
Yes.
But I really think, just in my time in this industry, the synergy really is between guns and cigars.
Man, that's crazy that you do bring that up, because we both realized that right after that first event.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it has something to do with the masculinity of a firearm and the masculinity of cigars, but is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, I really don't know. I just know that everybody associates it with several other things, and I don't hear as much about guns and cigars as what is what you think you would.
Yeah.
But I think that if you walked in here on just about any given day in my location and started talking guns, what's your favorite carry? What's your favorite gun? What's the best gun you've ever shot? What's the most reliable gun? I think everybody in the lounge would be involved in that conversation, or nearly everybody. And just doing the events that we've done with you, anytime that we've introduced cigars into that event,
wow, yeah,
everybody's smoking cigars, right? Yeah. And I do a lot of golf events, and probably 30% of the people are happy that we're there because they're cigar smokers. 20% of the people say, hey, can I take one of my brother? I'm not a real cigar smoker. And the rest of the people just don't enjoy cigars. And the same thing with car events and everything else.
Yeah.
But I think nearly 100% of the people that were at your event.
The Ally Outfitters.
And there was, 1,000 people there or something?
Oh, God. Probably closer to 700-800.
We probably went through 650 cigars. So, there's definitely a correlation there. One thing that I would like to learn a little bit more about, and I probably don't have enough time to talk about it now, but I hear a lot of your people talk about buying guns as investments. I've never viewed guns that way.
Yes.
Like, how would one put that into their investment strategy?
So, I know that I've moved most of my investment portfolio, my retirement portfolio, over to transferable machine guns, actually.
Okay.
Your return on investment is typically 17% year over year. We can go over the process. It's not that complicated, but it might be a little too long for
in
this
short, though,
conversation.
why is it? Why aren't there more machine guns made?
Supply
and demand, right?
Yes, it's supply and demand. You have an ever-increasing demand with a finite supply. There's regulations from May 19th, 1986, the Hughes Amendment, the Gun Control Act of 68.
So basically the guns that existed then are the guns that exist now for private ownership.
Right, for private ownership. That doesn't involve dealers, but for private ownership, it's a very finite supply.
Okay.
And people are finding out more and more each day that they can own these, so it drives the demand up.
Okay.
An item that cost an auto sear that cost $50 back in the 80s, maybe even $20, is now worth $30,000, $40,000.
That's interesting, man. Oh, I wish I had known about that in the 80s. Probably couldn't have bought one then. So, carry guns.
Carry guns.
What's your, how does somebody decide what's a good carry gun?
Well, so I always tell people, carry the biggest gun with the most capacity that you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
Whether it's something that has 5 to 6 or 7 rounds or 19 rounds. Mission always dictates the gear.
Okay. So I'm like a single stack guy.
Yes.
I remember the first time you and I started talking carry guns. I think I had a Glock 43, and you pulled out a fully automatic Glock 19, right?
It was a Glock 18C. The first time we actually talked about carry guns, yes.
You never feel like a little punk more than when you pull out your Glock 43 and he sets a fully automatic Glock down. But I think that'd be something later that we should,
Yeah.
maybe come back around and talk to.
Leave comments if
Yeah.
of stuff that we might want to follow up with later.
Let's transition to cigars a little
yeah.
bit. So we've already established that you're my first Davidoff client.
What are you smoking right now, actually?
I'm actually smoking one of our new blends that I haven't released yet. So we did the wine house with Christian Aroa, but the first batch of cigars he sent me was this one, and it really is like my palate. I like it a lot, but it was more medium, and we had a lot of medium, so we kind of reworked it. He sent me some full-bodied stuff, which is what we released. But I've got a couple thousand of these still, so I don't know. Maybe we'll release it later. But it's a collaboration we did with the Aroas. It's also 100% Corojo from Honduras. But Davidoff, let's talk a little bit about Davidoff. I think you probably have the best collection of like rare and limited Davidoff of any of my customers. What has been your favorite release so far?
My absolute favorite release, and I think it might be in line with yours too, is the
Art 16.
The Art 16, yes.
I had a feeling that was going to be it. But you always do all the year ofs.
All the Chinese Zodiacs.
Yeah.
Every year I get them, and I think I've gotten them since the year of the Horse or the Dragon, which may have been 5 or 6 years before.
That
you
was
even
before
picked
me.
them.
Yeah. Of those, what's been your favorite?
Of the ones that
Of the Zodiac signs.
of the Zodiacs, man, I really like the Year of the Rat that just came out.
Yeah.
That might actually be my favorite, which,
I'm hearing a lot of people say like the Year of the Dog
yes.
was really popular.
Yes.
And then the Year of the Rat. So I think most people are saying those are the best two that they've made.
Yeah.
But really, they're all just so damn good. Like
Yeah.
they really do a good job with their limited stuff. And it's not one of those things that, probably like you buy for $20 and they're worth $40,000 later. But I always think it's interesting. We get them in, and a lot of people drag their feet, end up going to the secondary market to buy them.
Yeah.
And they're not increasing like that. But on those, especially on those,
I know.
you want to buy them
Yeah.
at retail when they first come out, right?
Because I think I've paid 2x retail for some stuff on the secondary market just to complete things.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Of the core line stuff, what's your favorite?
Core line stuff, I usually smoke 1 to 2 of these Nicaraguan box press today.
Okay.
There are the Escurios that are in the tubes. Those are my when I go to the
Robusto
range.
Tubo.
Yes, I go to when I'm actually shooting machine guns on the range. That's what I don't know what the correlation between
Is it
that.
because it's in the tube and you can easily just throw it in a
Maybe I
bag?
just toss it in a pocket, but it does have a flavor. It invokes an emotional response for me when I'm shooting machine guns.
Interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah, I'm a Davidoff Nicaraguan guy as far as the core line. I prefer the round over the box press though.
The diademas.
Well, the Diadema probably is, I think, bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Their best core line cigar.
Yeah.
But I normally smoke like the Robusto,
Okay.
just at the lounge. But the
Okay.
Diadema is kind of my special occasion. I don't know why. It's only a few dollars more, but I just saved that one. But I like just about all of the sizes. They all smoke pretty true. But the box press is just a little bit meatier. They use 1 priming higher on the box press. The box press outsells the round ones probably 2 to 1 here. And that's surprising because I smoke so many of the round ones.
Yeah, they're not really known for their box press.
Yeah.
So are you price sensitive when it comes to the different Davidoff lines?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So I save. People ask me all the time, why do you not smoke Davidoff all the time? Since you love it so much.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to. One, I like to save it for a little bit, kind of a special moment. And some of that's just at the end of a tough week.
Yeah.
Some of it's after a good day, and some of it's, your birthday, and we sit down and smoke one, right?
Right.
But I am price conscious when it comes to cigars in general. I like to find really good $10, $11 cigars that I can smoke when I'm working. I can set them down. If I leave them too long and I got to throw them away and start over, it doesn't break my heart. When I smoke a Davidoff, I want to know that I've got an hour and a half to sit down and enjoy it. And I smoke more of the core line than anything. But like the Art 16, I've still got a couple of those. And so that's a cigar that I just break out on special occasions.
Right.
Part of it's because of the scarcity of it, part of it's because of the price of it. But people ask me, is a $40 cigar worth $40. For hell, we smoked some of their $100 cigars. I think you've smoked their $500 cigar. Is it worth it? Probably not.
No, but it's about the experience.
It's about the experience.
It's about the experience, how it makes you feel. It reminds you of a certain time when you smoked that last cigar.
I mean, I think when you smoked the 500, you were in New York City.
I was in New York, right next to Central Park. It was the Blanco de Oro.
Yeah.
And there was just something about that made
In
it
that
feel
situation,
right.
was it worth it?
Yes, it was definitely
Probably worth every penny, right?
Yes.
But if you were sitting around here, we're shooting this video, we're talking, we're not really focusing on our breathing, we're not retrohaling the cigar, probably not going to find it worth the value, right? So it's kind of that same way for me. Like, if I'm going to smoke something really nice, I want to know that it's the right occasion and I'm going to get my money worth out of it. Anyway, so we normally end this thing, we've probably gone over a little bit with a rapid fire.
We always go over.
So,
every video I've been involved in, we always go over.
I'm going to do a rapid fire, so Boeh doesn't know the questions I'm about to ask him. Padron or Davidoff?
Davidoff.
Figured that one was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Favorite city in the world?
Las Vegas.
Really? Surprises me.
Why does that surprise you?
You probably have a love-hate with Las Vegas. I used to hate Vegas, but
we've started going a couple times.
I'm starting to shift my opinion on Vegas just a little bit. I just stay away from the tables. Round or box press?
Box press, typically.
Favorite pair of shoes you own?
Louboutins. The white Python Louboutins.
You probably hate me for that.
Yeah.
And then if you weren't in the gun industry, what would you be doing?
If I was not in the gun industry, I would be in the charitable cause industry. Or it's not an industry, just working for charities. That's what I'd be doing.
That makes perfect sense for you.
Really.
Anyway, thanks for spending some time with us.
Cheers,
today,
man. Cheers.
Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.